Okay. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. I know we're supposed to be starting at 6 o'clock, but with a tech show, things happen. Things happen. But as I said, this is going to be a great show tonight. There's been a lot of discussion in the last couple of days about this newest app called Thread, and there are a lot of people signing up for their app. They're moving over from one platform to another platform, and I personally have an issue with that. But I think the public needs to be better informed as to why they sign up from one app to another app and what's the value and the benefits. So tonight I'm bringing in a specialist in the field of technology engineering and artificial intelligence. And I have prepared a series of questions for my guest tonight. And I just want everyone to sit back, take notes. This is a educational show tonight. We typically do shows about news and crime, and some entertainment, but tonight this is about the technology and how those end users will benefit from this newest app called Thread. Also, is Thread in direct competition with Twitter? And if so, what does that mean to the end user? Without any further ado, I want to bring on my guest, someone that has sparked my interest over the last few days based on the current project he's working on. And you guys will see a lot more of his work in the days to come, weeks to come. So without any further ado, I call him Tesh, but you will call him Rohitash Dubay. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm round of applause. I'm sure he's not going to hear you, but in any event, Tesh, good evening.
Hey, good evening. Good evening, Davis. How are you?
Man, listen, I say this to my my audience. Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. And this is on YouTube. We are on YouTube, we are on Facebook, we are on Meta and on Twitter. So this is a good thing. I want you. Yeah, I'm on Thread as well. I see on there. I can't be talking about an app that I'm not even on, but I want you, before we go into the discussion, just give me a little background on what do you do in this tech industry.
Definitely. So my name is Rohitash. I will give a little bit introduction about my like education and then about the work I do right now. So I did my undergrad in automotive engineering, and then I did my master's from University of Michigan at Dearborn in industrials and systems engineering. During my master's, I joined a company called Refraction AI. Refraction AI is a last mile robotics delivery. Refraction AI deals in like last mile autonomous vehicles, and the company has been there for almost over 5 years now and been making autonomous vehicles which goes on like bike lanes, streets, and sidewalks to deliver your food, to groceries, and anything up there. Now, I've been working with this company for almost 2.5 years. I I work here as a director of fleet operations, so I take care of the fleets. I also am involved in engineering of a lot of hardware and also work with operations with a lot of day-to-day data and data analytics and supply chain analytics up here. So yeah, I mean, pretty soon somewhere here in Atlanta, you might see a robot delivering stuff from food to groceries, and just say hi. It might be one of our creations up there.
There was a recent press conference held in Alpharetta, Georgia, where your company introduced the robotic delivery device that will be going door to door in a neighborhood near you. Can you talk about that particular engagement with the business and your involvement in that project?
Yeah, for sure. So we are partnered with one of the leading fast food restaurant in the industry, and we have been partnered with them for over a year now, and doing uh, we started doing another pilot with them in Alpharetta, Georgia, and as far as my knowledge, I might be wrong, but As far as I've been told by people up here, press up here, that this is the first full-fledged pilot going on, which will be delivering food from a fast food restaurant to customers. And 2 weeks ago, here in Avalon, that restaurant is located. We started doing. We did a demonstration, and from yesterday we went live. We did some deliveries at the Avalon, the Green, during the concert. The robot was up there for the first time for the people of Alfreda and Avalon to see, and it was very very heartwarming. And I mean, the response we got and was really really exciting. And it kind of motivates us to go back and like do more nice work and serve people with more convenient and futuristic technology, which can help them, which can help making their life much more convenient and helpful.
The first time I experienced a robot delivering food was in a restaurant that I happened to eat in. And it was
Yeah.
an Indian restaurant, coincidentally. One of my favorite Indian restaurants. You might have heard of it, but it's in the Alpharetta area, as a matter of fact. And when the robot came to my table, I'm like, wait a minute, am I being punked here? But anyway, uh, this is how far we've come in technology. And I just want to get into start giving you fill you with some questions as it relates to social media and technology. One of the questions is, how do you approach software design in the context of social media platforms?
Yeah, I mean, designing software for social media comes with its own sets of challenges, right? Like, if I go and break it down in points, the first and the foremost challenge which every social media company wanna have is scalability, because hundred thousands of social media softwares and platforms up there on your app store or your Android iOS, but making them scalable is one of the biggest challenge. So social media platform needs to handle a massive amount of users, and should able to provide a platform to those content creators and support them with some kind of like monetary engagement, which keeps them motivated to content, keep that content creating that content. So scalability is first. The second point which I will say is data privacy and security, because there are like millions of users of these software platforms, and they give their all their details, from their date of birth to their email account, their location and all, with these companies, and which these companies use to generate revenue streams from their advertisement and all. But all this data is very important, because if any of this data get leaked or stolen, privacy of lot of uh, regular residents will be in danger. So data privacy is another thing which you need to keep in mind. The another one is content moderation. So like there is like a lot of social media platforms can lead to harmful content creation. So it's very important from this for this social media company to keep those content in moderation. I mean, I grew up in India, and recently there was an app in India which was leading to a very bad impact on the community up there, and was people was engaged to in a not a positive way. There was a lot of harmful content was created. As a result, the government has to step up and block all those apps, and which was a great example for this. So if the social media companies are not thinking about that, they should really think, because that content is watched by millions of people, and need to be clean. So those are the few points I think need to be like considered while you are thinking about creating any social media platform.
It's funny that you mentioned that uh, data security is essential in America. It's essential when we're dealing with elections, and it's very important to understand that if security is not one of the cornerstones of development applications, then we run the risk of seeing situations like what happened coincidentally with Meta and the what happened during the election. So when you hear of a new app as an engineer, what is some of the things that kind of not concern you, but you look at when you are thinking about downloading that app to your pocket device? And you kind
I
of
mean,
alluded to earlier.
yeah. I mean, all the apps. First of all, as soon as you go to the sign up page, ask for a lot of permission checks on your phone, and they ask for your GPS location. They ask for all the basic data from your photos, videos to all other access. And as a concerned citizen, I'm always hesitated to give my like location to a random app company where it can be used for maybe spying or maybe for any other reasons. And so I think data privacy is a very important point. And like companies like Twitter or Meta, I think they have a very high data security policies. Their audits are very well taken care of. They have a very strong audit teams which monitors their data. And there are like I don't have exact numbers, but there are like more than thousands of lawsuits going on different companies in courts for data privacy for one of the social media or other uh, being leaked. So definitely, it's a very big concern. And during the engineering of this apps, data privacy is always um, considered as a top priority, because if the customers or the consumers of this app won't feel safe to use it, I think no one is going to come and like download your app, because they will be always scared to do it. And like as I said earlier, there is like a very strict policy, and there are like IT departments, audits, and everything happens. And I think it should be a very a strict process continue future, because as these new apps keeps on coming and evolving and the competition increases, people will start losing those small pockets here and there, and which can lead to maybe some kind of big event which we don't want to see here.
Do me a favor.
Yeah.
Explain the distinct differences between Twitter and Thread.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, first of all, I like to like say that I've been a user of Twitter for almost 10 years, more than 10 years, and I've been a user of Thread for almost 3 years now. So while I was going through Thread and Twitter
No,
and
hold on. Did you say Thread 3 years, or you said
sorry,
Thread
3 days, 3 days.
3 days?
I like to
Okay,
correct myself. Thank
wait a
you,
minute.
thank you for.
Okay, because I'm thinking that maybe there might be some espionage going on here. Go ahead.
No, that's my bad. Sorry. Yeah, 3 days. So while I use both these apps, I divided into 8 buckets of, or I can say 8 classifications of distinction. How those both apps feel in using, and how they are. So the first category was like account management. So as soon as I went on Thread, I downloaded app, and as soon as I opened it, all the information was up there. So you just need to click a button saying login through Instagram, and it will pull all your history from Instagram, all your followers, and you're all set. I mean, so that was like super easy. Whereas in like Twitter, it's a traditional way. You go up there, you sign up and create your account, and you start from scratch. So that was one thing. So which I found very interesting, because Twitter, like being a user of Twitter for almost 10 years, uh, my followers or my community on Twitter is way different from my Instagram, because all the community on Twitter is very different. We talk about our specific topics and all, whereas on Instagram it's all my friends and colleagues and relatives. So now on Thread it's all up there, and then whatever community I build up. So that was one thing which was very interesting and difference which I saw. The second is availability of the app. So Twitter came in action in 2006, and it was way before like iPhone came. So Twitter was launched as a website initially, and then it was updated to an app version on iOS and Android both. So they still have their website, and I still use the web version on my laptop, so I can still, like have those tweets or notifications coming in whenever I want. Whereas Thread is purely on apps. I wouldn't be shocked if there will be a web version coming of Threads maybe sometime soon. So that's another thing. Now the most important thing which I think is kind of made Thread entry very I'll say spot on is because Thread came in, I think, at the right place at right time. And when I say that because we all knew Elon Musk bought Twitter like recently, a few months ago, and after that he started changing few things on Twitter, and the Twitter family was like, the users of Twitters were kind of like not exactly, like I'll say, they are not super happy about the changes being made. For example, anyone can get a verified blue tick on Twitter now, with the blue tick subscription price they pay. I mean, it's $8 per month, and anyone can have a blue tick now. Whereas, like I've seen some accounts where people have named themselves as Elon Musk and something in the bracket, which is like a totally fake account and has a blue tick.
Parody account. A
Parody account, yeah. Okay. And those account exist, which can, like, sorry for that, which can clearly deceive the audience on Twitter. So I think Meta saw this opportunity and saw the right time to enter in this space. And people were already exploring few other options. People were trying Reddit and stuff. And then Meta brought this Threads, which is comparatively like same to Twitter with like its short message format. So the third point which I want to draw here is
hold on before we go to your third point.
Mm-hmm.
One of that we're going to point that out because Twitter is a microblogging site.
Yes.
The difference that stood out for me was that while Twitter is contained to 280 characters for non-subscribers, mm-hmm. Thread gives you a longer ability to put content on their platform.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's a big distinction. And the other big distinction for me is which you pointed out, that Twitter started as a web-based website where you can Google, and when you Google, you can find your tweets on Twitter. Whereas Thread, it's not Googleable, which is important if you're trying to reach a wide spectrum of people who want to do research using Google. Am I correct?
Yeah. I totally agree to your second point, which is very, very correct. And I think that's why you see like viral tweets going on. I'm waiting for that day when I'll see a viral thread. But that web search function of Twitter really makes it more, viralable. So it can go viral quickly. On the first point for longer content, Thread still had a word limit for it, so it's in my point list, but I'll cover it now. So as you said, Twitter gives 280 words limit, whereas Threads give you a 500 word limit. So yeah, you can do a longer description.
You mean characters, correct?
Characters, yeah, that's what I mean. Yep. so you can do a longer discussion on it. And then whereas Twitter, so that's the text content on it. Now talking about the multimedia post on both the apps. Twitter gives you opportunity to post up to 4 photos, videos, GIFs, or links in a tweet, whereas thread on the other hand gives you opportunity to post up till 10, so which is, as we talked earlier, like it gives you an opportunity to do longer discussions, longer threads. So I think the content on Twitter is very focused. So if someone is talking about something, or any community is discussing about something, it will be very focused and very, like, on the point, whereas on Instagram it will be much more lengthier. So yeah, those were the 2 points on my list. And then another price, as we were talking about, another point was price. So right now Twitter charges around $8 per month to get your blue tick, and then you can have more number of tweets view. You can view more number of content and other stuff. Whereas Thread right now doesn't charge you anything. But
But
looking at
that's right now.
that's right now,
They all
exactly.
lure you in at some point.
Exactly, that's right now. So looking at Meta's business model and track record, Instagram was launched as a free app, and it's still free, but now there are much more ads on it. There's a whole new shopping section on it. So they have commercialized their platform, and slowly, initially, I mean, they have kept Thread free from any ads or any like pricing or cost perspective. But eventually I think it will grow up to be like an advertisement platform, maybe like Facebook or Instagram. So that's one of those points. And then another point which I think uh, is very important is verification. Now, after, as I said earlier, like uh, one of the lacking point after Elon Musk is the verification of Twitter accounts, and now anyone can have those verifications. People have really struggled, except for government organization and few, uh, except for government organizations and news outlets. I think everyone can have those. Like government organizations get green tick, and news organizations get gold tick, whereas like everyone can have uh, a blue tick. So there's no, like privacy or verification which used to be done before, and which let down a lot of Twitter users. Whereas now, with Instagram verification, Threads automatically gives you a verification on your account. So it kind of verifies that this user is a good content creator, or is a public figure, or is has done something authentic, that he is influencing a mass community of people, and he deserves a blue content. So it's more on.
Well, hold on to that. Hold on for a second.
Yeah.
When we look at the processes, the new processes that are in place on Instagram, where they require, for example, your government ID, that doesn't necessarily prove that you are an authority in the areas that you discuss, and that's where we have to make the distinction.
Yeah.
Prior to that, for example, on Twitter, like for example, when people were grandfathered in with their blue check, there were discussions where some people were paying for those blue checks through internal access to certain employees. My concern is, even with both the blue checks or the ones with the lack of blue checks, how do you protect the end user from the obvious deceptive practice like election rigging? Do you think that the blue check and the processes in place for Twitter and or Instagram is sufficient enough to protect the general public from these type of issues?
I think I think that's what Meta saw the gray spaces, and that saw that Twitter is not doing right, and Twitter is struggling in doing that because they Twitter also want to earn money, and they brought this blue tick as their in their business model as a revenue generator, and which kind of caused this debate of what you just said, like people are not verified, uh, and Twitter and Instagram came in, and then they did what Twitter was doing wrong, and they they gave that blue tick to only the users who are like verified by law and stuff. So I think one of the platform saw the opportunity what other was doing wrong and grab on it. And as I said earlier, it was a right place and a right time movement, I think, by Thread.
Another question I have for you.
Yes.
There is uh I want to make sure that we don't, you notice I haven't put up neither Twitter logo or the Thread logo. Do you see a this to be a copy and paste situation with Thread versus Twitter? And what do you think there are any patent concerns with that might be a concern with Twitter as it relates to Thread's introduction to the marketplace?
Mhm. So, I mean, as I in like before this conversation, I think I mentioned like 5 6 points, and for all those points were distinct between those two apps. Now there is one point which is very important and which is causing all this debate is engagement. So I've been using Twitter for a while, as I said, and I use Thread. And one thing which I saw, which is common, is engagement means. So there's a same type of like button. There is a same format of comment button. There is like repost. I won't say same. They are alike, and they are very close, and there is same type of like share options. So for example, even on threads also, like when you click on a comment, and if you want to see all the comments, you click on the thread, and then you can see all the comments. Whereas same on the tweet, like if you click on a tweet, and you can see all the tweets, and you can scroll down on the tweet. So there's same kind of um, like button on it. So the engagement section is where I think there is a lot of similarities between these two, and which is creating this debate of is it copy of Twitter or is it not, and that has been a big debate open on. So yeah, I think that's one section where I find a lot of similarities. I think which eventually Thread will work on and find various different ways to engage their users and learn from this app. Looking at the app, it still looks like it's in a very development phase yet. They are still working on a lot of things, and I think there are going to be a lot more improvements coming on it in upcoming few months.
Can you explain the key steps you take during the design process to ensure that your applications does not infringe on any existing patents? If that's if you can address something like that, because there are so many copy and paste apps out there.
Mm-hmm.
What steps do you take so you don't infringe on anyone else's patent?
So I mean, first few, it's a whole design process we go through. So first of all, the most important thing which we do always is put ourselves in our customer shoe and think like what they want, and that's the start of every design process. So we do like a lot of whiteboards and a lot of team building or team exercises where we throw all the ideas on the board, and come with like a goal of that project, and according to that idea, collect all those ideas and align with our goal and what we want our customer to deliver to get. What is our voice of customers? That's the second thing. So uh, we align all those things according to our voice of customer, and then and then we go in the engineering part of it. So once we got our voice of customer and our ideas and goals and everything done and packaged together, then we go into the engineering part where we generate algorithms and uh, do coding and all those stuff in the background, go through the QA process of those codings, and then coming out with a product. And in between, then there is one more process which is very important, is the user interference and user experience, which is um, how the user should interfere with those things. What will be the most convenient way to put what the customer wants. And I think it's a very important thing to in the whole design process.
Elon Musk invested $44 billion to acquire Twitter. I'm sure he's watching the the uh the the ticker that is now appearing on everyone's Instagram page, and seeing how fast it's growing. Do you foresee in the near future any possible litigation that may occur as a result of the launching of Thread?
As I was reading the news, I saw that Twitter filed a lawsuit against Meta for a copyright of their like app or their content or so. Whereas in defense, Meta said that they have not copied anything. They have not hired any of the Twitter employees, and it's all their content. So I would like to think it's a very interesting build up, I will say, because uh, with all this thing, I think it's building up to be Mark versus Elon. That's what I think. And we all have been listening about the news that they both will be doing like an MMA fight, or they both will be doing going to Rome and having a clash off. And it's boiling very interestingly now, because till now all the entertainment was done by like celebrities and sports persons, whereas all the tech CEOs and the founders were very focused on their business. But the personality which these two great founders carry with themselves, they carry a lot of attention also. And they can change, they can impact the way the world operates. So I think uh, I don't know what will happen with the lawsuit and the debate of whether it's a copy or it's a creation, or how things will go from here. But one thing which I know is there's going to be very interesting time up here in few months, where we'll see a lot of back and forth between these two amazing founders.
Well, I think that the this potential, uh, I guess, sporting event is is a small part of what Twitter may be experiencing and how they're going to deal with it. I think that watching the conversations on the both platforms, I think that I don't know if this is going to be the best play by Meta. I don't know. Let me ask you another question. Do you think that Meta has an opportunity to capture a wide a majority of Twitter's audience, or do you think that people who are loyal to Twitter will stay on Twitter, or will they go to the other side because they have the ability to take advantage of some of the uh, weaknesses of Twitter? For example, the amount of the length of threads versus having on 280 characters, where you get more conversation on the thread platform.
Um, I think there are always two kind of people. One is one who like really stick to their loyalties, and really wanna proceed with what they have, and other uh, see the opportunity of growth, and just go with that. So I think knowing, like seeing Elon Musk and knowing how powerful leader he is, I'm for sure he will keep his team very engaged. Though he is the one who is in the front, but there's a very big team behind him who works very hard, and he knows how to lead that team. So, and he's a people person. Like he will talk to his team. He will be there in office sitting for at least 20 hours and making sure things goes right. So he will do right things for his team and keep them motivated, and to get out of whatever, uh, either it's making revenue for Twitter, or going through a competition with Thread. And I think this competition with Thread will give them more kick or energy to like get something more creative from for Twitter. So I think people will still, people like to, as I know, like I've seen people like to work for Elon, and they will still work for Twitter for Elon, and there might be few people for sure who might see a good growth opportunity.
Tesh, are you positioning yourself uh, for a position with Tesla? Because I know you.
No, no.
Well, I know, but Meta or Facebook has more experience in the social media space than Twitter.
Yep.
A lot more experience. So they do have the technology and resources to at least give Twitter a go for their money. Would you agree?
I think uh, I will say they both are very old in terms of companies. Like Twitter was 2006, Facebook Meta was also around same time. Uh, but I think over the year, Meta has made a really strong team, and the team is very in depth. Like there is a lot of people who have been working there for a lot many years, and whereas like Twitter has went through a whole change in the leadership team, and a lot of engineers and other stuff. So yeah, there has, I think, in this situation right now, yeah. Meta has an advantage of having that team up there, and I think there is always like those underdogs who see a small portion of meat on the bone and will like just go all out for it. So yeah, I think Twitter will go with the team, and I mean they have all the resources. They can for sure hire way more engineers to get things done.
Okay, so I had a question for you, but I think you addressed that. I want to keep the conversation going, so I want to let's see here. Let me think. How do you strike a balance between innovation and usability when designing software for social media platforms?
Um, think I think user. If I get your question right, you're asking about the innovation side and the user experience, also how we combine it,
Right,
right?
right. How you combine it and how make it a uh, friendly
Yeah,
and fluid for the end
fluid.
user.
Yeah. So it's a very good question, and I think I find this process very very interesting because it's a process which help you think out of the box, and that's that's something you have to do every time if there is innovation and customer user experience involved, because uh, people become habitual of something, right? Like if you're doing every day one thing, if you're getting your food from DoorDash, you are used to getting your food delivered at your doorstep, and you just go out and pick it up. So you have become used to it. Now you innovate something, and now you want to let people operate in the way you want, so you need to break that learning which they have from doing that thing in the past. So the user experience and the user interaction part becomes very important up there. And now with that user interference or UX UI methods, you can break that process how people used to do things in the past. So you always think of like you will always get these innovative ideas, you'll implement it, you'll work on the tech, you'll get it developed, but then letting people use it, like making more it friendly for people, until it's not friendly for people, they won't be using it. So that's where you go in your design room, you get with your team, and you do the brainstorming process. You always, as I said earlier, you always put yourself in your customer shoe and think like that. And that's, I think, is the most important process, to get all the ideas out. Because if I could not do one thing which I've designed myself, or if I could not use it, how will I think like other people to use it? So if I'm designing whether an app, if I'm making a social media platform to do video calls or do any basic thing, if I could not give a video icon which is straightforward and make people to click on it, then and if I could not do it myself, uh, I don't expect anyone else to do it. So that's where you need to think, and then you need to think in the most simplest form or dumbed down way, where you can make it so simple for people uh, to use. So even a kid for like 10 year or like 5 year, like you see kids now, like how they use phone. A lot of people above like 50, 60s still struggle to use phone, because but like if you see kids of like 4 years, they will be like scrolling down through the phones, because all the apps work on their UI UX, so that even a small kid goes and do it one time, he knows or she knows how to do it. So I think that's a very very important step in combining any user innovation and the user experience together.
And to your point, and you touched on something that I thought about when for example, I'll go. I went to the local supermarket the other day,
Mhm.
and I handed the young lady the exact change, and she couldn't figure out how to calculate me giving her what she should have gave me back from the register based on me giving her exact change. Because I'm old school, and I have a background also in accounting.
Mhm.
So numbers like come like that to me.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, can you explain the role of the machine learning and artificial intelligence in social media software design?
Yeah. Think it's everyone knows AI and machine learning is becoming a thing, and it's future now. And I, as working in the industry myself, has been experiencing it, and it's a very amazing technology. Like if you talk about in terms, it's making computational power so fast, and it's making a lot of complex problems solve with help of technology with a really nice and constructive way. So talking about the social media, machine learning and AI, now there are two sides of it. I think a lot of social media companies use this AI and machine learning for understanding a personality trait of a person, from their touch, from how long they have put their thumb on the screen, from their scrolling speed, to from their zoom in, at what pictures they zoom in, at what links they click in, at everything. Every small thing has been captured in that data, and then it's not humanly possible to identify that pattern of that particular individual. Like you can do for like 10 people, you can do for 100 people, you get a big team, you can do for maybe 100,000 people, but you can't do for millions, right? So at that place, this AI models and machine learning models come in play, where they collect all this data in this big databases, and then these AI models and machine learning models process the data, run algorithms continuously, and identify. Okay, I need to send Dennis a public advertisement or any advertisement, because it might be close to his place. He lives in Atlanta, or so. All those things kind of get in there, and then which is helping all this company in their revenue, and that's how basically software as a service companies are proceeding towards, and it's it's pretty exciting to see that. I mean, and the other part, which I was said is going to say, is that people are using it in all autonomous vehicles, also in healthcare, also in aviation, also. So not only sticking to like social media companies, but also in generic world progress, AI is becoming a very vital part, because where we all see like future movies with robots and transformers. Maybe 200 years from now, 300 years from now, we might be pretty close to that, or we don't know. Like, so,
I won't be a benefactor of the
yeah,
technology. I will say that
yeah,
unless there is a device that can be developed to preserve my life for another 200 years, I won't be a benefactor of that knowledge. With
yes.
that said, any final words as it relates to uh, wanting more people to get into engineering, perhaps, and how especially from my community, why is it important for more us to pursue a career in technology and engineering?
Um, I'll say that if you are really interested in engineering, then only do it. But if you are interested in engineering, then what engineering you should do is something which is very interesting, and it's a trend. Like, so 5 years from now, data science and data analytics was a big thing. Before that, there was Arduino and electronics. Before that, there was mechanical engineering, automotive engineering. So this trend changes every like a decade, I'll say, or 5 years to a decade.
Okay.
And right now, it's about like very focused on machine learning and AI and deep learning. So it's a good time for anyone who is really interested in machine learning, computer science, and AI. Robotics, I think robotics is another great field which is booming, and it's right there on the bottom of the peak. So I think if you want to jump and go up, I think it will be a very futuristic field. All the small startups in robotics are now popping up, and the big companies are getting very interested in it. So um, robotics can be another exciting field. So yeah, I think and just follow the trend and keep on learning. Even if you finish your engineering, yeah, just be out there and see the current trends, and just, yeah, keep learning.
I do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring a guest up because I think this guest may have a question for you.
Yeah,
Her name is Lana Thomas, and she is an engineer student, and she may want to fill one or two questions to you. Do you have time to take a question?
yeah, for sure, we can do.
I'm gonna bring, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Lana Thomas. Hey, Lana, how are you today? Lana, is your we can't hear you. Are you muted?
Hello, can you hear
Hey,
me
hey, Lana, how you doing?
now?
So, thank you for joining the show today. Do you have any questions for our guest, Tesh? I know you're an engineer student. Do you have any questions for him?
So I was just wondering, where do you think the industry of computer science and engineering is headed, given that these field leaders, I'll call them, are kind of monopolizing the industry?
Oh, it's a pretty good, I think, question. Um, the I think everyone saw like the power of AI recently with ChatGPT, and it kind of gave the world like where the world is heading towards. Things will be very, very easy to like the small day-to-day problems will be very easy to solve for, and there won't be a lot of space for a regular repetitive job. It will be very skill oriented and very talent oriented, because all those jobs will can be done with the help of an AI app, or like if I wanna edit a picture, I can just post it up there and write my comments, and I can get a picture I want. Or if I'm writing a lyrics, I can go on chat GPT, I can type my lyrics and be like, hey, help me uh, with my lyrics, and it will help you. So I think in the world everyone saw that, and with that, people have, as we were talking like before this, like AI and machine learning has become a thing, and people with like more skillful and knowledge base will, I think, thrive and will progress, and they can keeping up with the technology, and all the leaders now in the different industry, talking from automotive to healthcare to banking, finance, and other technology, other sectors of the industry has saw that, and then they've started using all this part of technology in their industry, and which is for the betterment of the basically society. So for example, in healthcare, if there is an AI, if there is a surgery which need to be done like very complexly by human skill, there can be a computer, some computer which can help to complex that surgery and can detect those things just by some x-rays or some visual inspection or some data which it has from the past patient database. So I think machine learning and AI and deep learning is going to be, I think, a very like thriving mainstream um, field in next 5 to 10 years.
Lana, can you tell me why did you had many fields to choose? Why did you choose engineering?
I've always found like technology and building things very interesting. Um, I know people always say it's not rocket science, but it's like in this case, sometimes it is rocket science. So I think that exploring the field is going to be very useful in the future. I think that there's a lot of opportunities in the field and in the industry. And I think you don't see a lot of Black girls doing it. So I definitely want to, break some standards.
Break that glass ceiling, so to speak.
A lot of support to you.
Any other questions for our guest, Lana?
So I was wondering, you were mentioning AI. Do you think that the introduction of AI will make it easier or harder for humans in the future, given the fact that it will make a lot of things easier to accomplish, which means we won't be using as much brain power to accomplish those things. So it could in turn make us lazy, or it could have the alternate effect because we will have to find other ways to use our brain power in order to, be worthy or be of value or of some use in the world.
It's a pretty interesting question, I'll say again, because I think about it a lot. And being in the industry, I think like I hope I'm not making someone lazy today. I hope someone like I work in the last mile delivery. I always think somebody who could have walked a half mile and picked their food. But then at the same time, I think what makes me think is that there's some reason that that person need that food to be delivered, right? But because he might not be well, he might be busy, he might be building an AI model which is going to be helping someone else. So I think humans are very smart creatures. I mean, we will find some or other way to you know go beyond this technology. Like for example, when a calculator was invented, people thought that people will lose their like analytical skills and mathematical skills, because now they will use all this calculator to do the calculations, and no one will do any calculations with their brain. And but that not happen actually. It helped us to go forward and explore more things, because now all that thing can be done by a calculator, and they can think beyond that. So I think it's a stepping stone towards more better way of living. And I think the end goal of all these things should be to create a better place to for our future generation, rather than like we inherit this earth from our future generation basically. So we need to make sure that whatever we do, we have done a lot of wrong things on this planet, which has led to a lot of pollution, global warming, and all those issues. And all, even like small AI to electric vehicles to anything with machine learning, all this should combine together and basically help in that motto. So I see a lot of people now using AI in farming. I see a lot of people using machine learning and stuff in like forest growth and all those things. And I think that's where everyone should think about of it. And I think it's going to help us rebuild our planet to a better place.
Lana touched on a good point. And while she didn't address the economic and employment opportunities, I went into a Walmart today. There are no cashiers to check you out.
Yeah.
And then I spoke early on about the restaurant I went to where the robot is actually bringing you the food.
Mm-hmm.
So the people that are losing their jobs now have to either find another field to work in or get trained in these areas, because in my opinion, these advancements may also hurt the economy at large. These technological advancements may hurt the economy at large. Would you agree, Lana?
Yeah, so I would want to ask, do you see AI as a tool or as a crutch? Because, when you rely on a crutch too much, it can kind of weaken or delay the growth. But if it is used as a tool, then it can help promote that growth and encourage us to be better than what we were.
Yeah, I think it's another great question. I think it's a very valid point. A lot of people say that whenever I say like I make robots which do last mile delivery, they say you're taking people's job, but that's actually not true. We are trying to help. We are trying to help restaurants. We are trying to help people and the customers. There is a I mean, all of us would have tried to order food from a third-party app, DoorDash, Uber Eats, any other app. It's a long waiting time you have to go through, and it's because there is a shortage of those delivery drivers. There's a shortage of people working in those field, and that's why we see the wages are like in a lot of industries people are not able to find candidates to fulfill the requirements for the job. So all these tools, AI tools, or uh, I'll say softwares are helping those companies to fulfill those gaps and use their employees in a better and more I'll say for more other things which can be more helpful. Like for example, another example is like I saw a robot in a manufacturing industry which was filling like the inventory up there, and there used to be a person working, but that person used to be out there in sun and doing all that work and used to get really heat strokes and all those things. But now that robot kind of save that person to go out there and do the job, and that person can be actually in a on a do a desk job, can get more skill up there and learn about other stuff on the inventory side, and can just do a monitor like just monitor that robot. So there are few jobs which are I'll say replaced by AI and the technology, but there are way more jobs which are created and which are more skillful and more nicer for the society. So
Okay, well,
if
that's going to be that may be my follow-up question will be on another video because it's a big conversation about the displacement of workers. Even the janitor may not have a job pretty soon because there are devices now that will literally sweep the store up with with electronics. So
yes.
we want to have this conversation going, but I'm gonna have to end the show right now because we have another show to do in a few minutes. I want to
Okay.
thank my guests, Lana Thomas and Tesh Dubay. How can they follow each one of you on your social media platforms? Are you on Twitter, Lana? And are you on Thread, Lana?
I am on Threads, but I am not on Twitter. So I might have to go and get on there and see what it's talking about.
They're on Twitter.
Okay. How can they find you on your social media platforms?
They can follow me at london.amo. That is london.amo on Instagram. That's really the only social media platform that I partake in currently.
Okay. All right. Tash, how can they follow you on social media? Because I know you're on everything.
Yeah. I mean, you can follow me on Twitter. My handle is Rohitash D Rohitash, and my last name initial D. So that's how I go on Twitter, and on Instagram it's my full and last name. So my first and last name is Rohitash Dubay Rohitash Dubey.
Well, guys, I thank you for joining the show, and I hope the audience enjoyed the show. If you guys have any questions in the audience, leave a comment on the page, and hopefully either one can answer the question. And remember, always keep it friendly. Always keep it friendly. I'm Dennis Byron, and I hope you guys enjoyed the show. And until next time, we'll see you later.
Thank you so much.